Aloha everyone, Kapehe here. I'm the Developer Community Manager at Sanity. We're going to go over all the new things from Sanity for May 2024. We have some pretty awesome updates, new features, and interviews with the engineers behind some of this stuff. Let's get right to it. So first up, I interviewed a couple Sanity employees on some cool new tools we have for you all. So we had an event, Sanity Connect, on May 8th, where we launched a handful of new features. One I'd like to dive into is Sanity Create. So you know that feeling when you're in a great groove with your work, you're writing, you're coding, really anything, and then ping, you get a notification from Slack saying, hey, when you have a chance, can you approve this new hero image for the blog post going out next week? Your groove is gone. So we have made a distraction-free zone for you to gather notes, write your most beautiful work, and collaborate with teammates, and if needed, even use the power of AI. We call it Sanity Create, and we think you're gonna really like it. Oh, just don't forget to put your computer on Do Not Disturb for that truly distraction-free work. So I got to chat with Evan, our co-founder and the person who oversaw the development of Sanity Create, about the development, features, and thought process behind this awesome new tool. Let's watch this. Hi, Evan. Welcome. Thanks so much for meeting with me. Could you introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, my name is Evan. I'm calling in today from Oslo, Norway. I'm one of the co-founders of Sandy. So along the way here, I've done sort of many different things at the company. I've run like product and marketing, but currently I'm working on a presentation, which is a way of editing web pages by clicking on the final result instead of finding your way through forms. And I've also been working on the different AI products that we have released, like AI Assist and now Create.
Cool. Could you actually explain Create to all of us?
Yeah, sure. I think it's easier if I share screen.
Yeah.
Cool. So Create is really three things that we think is sort of generally missing from how people can do content creation within content management software right now. So first of all, it's sort of like a clean, efficient place to write and think. That's reminiscent of how something like Notion works, or IA sort of writer, or other tools that have like focused writing in interfaces that usually come with stuff like slash commands or markdown commands, or just like generally sort of like I just want a really efficient place to sort of write. And then it builds on this second realization that when people are writing in commercial contexts, they often have some kind of context. They have like a style guide, or they have a content brief, or they have a persona overview, or they have all of these different sources that they need to refer to when they are writing. So our thought was, what if we make a workspace that not only has the text you're sort of writing, but that also has your sort of notes. So we made this facility that you can sort of add notes to the writing surface. This is very sort of some of the research that we did for this, we talked to a lot of marketing folks, but we also looked at the history of the internal documents that our own marketing team has. And then when you go to the Google Docs, you travel back in time. And then you see that they start as these documents that has all of these briefs inside of it. And often it has like 3 good ideas that we should include, and the result of the brainstorming, and all of these documents that really define what's going to happen. So the thought then was, okay, we'll make a facility so that your team can gather here, collaborate, see where everyone is. Very soon, probably next week, Create will have cursor presence so you can see where everyone is. And then, yeah, so it's just like generally a good collaboration space, but then there's also notes. So for example, here, this is the welcome guide to sort of Sanity Create. And so here you have like the brief. What are we doing? What's the style like? What's the actual overview of what this feature does? So Create has 2 panes. It's on the left, it's on the right. So the left is the notes that we're looking at, the right is the content, and etc. Right? And then there's the value proposition, and it's yeah, just like all of the stuff that you might need to sort of write this very sort of text. And then the third thing that we sort of do is that we say, what if we then show your notes to a large language model so that the large language model can help? And that's the last thing.
That's awesome. And it's really nice to have like that space where you can just kind of like focus and there's not a lot going on. I do love the clean design and like having the notes and everything's just in one spot. And Create is really good at not only being a writing tool, but also like a conversation with AI that I've discovered for brainstorming and like ideas. So rather than just like a basic AI writing tool, I feel like Sanity made it more writing tool and idea sidekick. How did you approach AI with Create?
Now, so I think the clue here is that when you're using a tool like ChatGPT or any sort of large language model can only do the only thing it does is the next most probable thing. So like what's the most probable thing that happens now? What should be happening now? And the problem with that is that very often you get the most generic stuff back. So what Create tries to do is it tries to make the thing you need the most probable thing. And that's why we give it your notes. Your notes make the thing that you need the most probable thing that's going to happen. So the way that this sort of works is that you have this writing surface, and this is what we actually shipped. I think it's very fun. This is the welcome to Sanity Create, and then there's the getting started guide, and then there's ghostwriting. So if you use modern tools for writing, Create should feel familiar. The exception is the gray blip here hovering in the margin to the right of your cursor. This is where the ghostwriter lives. To find out what's in the menu, place your cursor at the end of the next paragraph, click the blip and select Ghostwrite to keep writing from where you are, then press Tab to keep going. This is the actual getting started guide, and with Create, the getting started guide writes itself. So ghostwriting lets you collaborate with an AI writing assistant to create content more efficiently, draws upon the information in your notes to inform its writing. It can pick up the desired tone, key facts, and the interesting thing here is that it's reading all of the notes, but it's also looking at the previous sentence. So it's trying to sort of just continue going. So I could, if I'm not happy with what it's doing here, I could be like the AI draws upon. I think draws upon is sounds way too I think it's that tone of sort of voice. It's getting into a tone of
Mhm.
voice here that is kind of like it draws upon this. It's very formal. So we could be like the AI takes a look at the information in your notes to inform its writing, to keep on going from where you are. So here I'm sort of like I'm effectively just like guiding it and guiding the tone, and then we can do command full stop, and then it will just keep on going from where we are. And this is how you would work with an assistant, right? It's how you would work with it's and what we've tried to do with this UI is that we've tried to make this sort of push and pull where you can sort of I do a little bit of work, I give it my notes, give it some ideas, and then we sort of keep on sort of going from sort of here. And where the machine makes a mistake, I can pick up the slack and sort of fix it. So yeah, here it starts doing the next thing that's in that menu, which is suggest options. So sometimes you may want to explore different directions your writing could go. That's where the suggest options feature comes in. So from the blip menu, and this is exactly right. This is what is actually here. So the next thing here is show me options, which is the next feature that this text naturally would describe. So here the machine has enough stuff to just keep on going and do approximately the right thing. And where it doesn't, I can sort of shape the context so that it gets it right.
That's really cool because it kind of is like a little like person on your shoulder that's like, "Oh, this is a great idea that's next." And then you can kind of like tweak it and make it your own. You don't have to just kind of let it do its thing. It's still yours, but it's sparking your ideas, I guess. I really like that. But how do you see Create evolving? Like, is this where it's going to stay or is it going to grow?
So it's important when using Create right now to realize that it is in early access. So there's a pretty lengthy backlog that the team is currently working from. We think that very valuable right now. It's our internal favorite tool to use to do both just drafting and this kind of AI and collaborative authoring. But there's a lot of stuff that it doesn't do. Right now, it's sort of like if you want to add an image, it needs to be pasted in. There's no discoverable affordance. If you want to add a new block, I mean, sure, it has slash commands, but those slash commands should probably be discoverable through a visual interface also. So there's just like there's a lot of sort of just affordances that we need to add to make it feel like a complete product. But I think also we're also working to integrate more AI features, like being able to rewrite a paragraph is a sort of like just like apply a prompt to already written text in addition to running prompts that just generate. And I think these are in sort of 2024. These are just like expected features from
Mm-hmm.
products like this. The biggest omission though from Create as it currently stands, and what we're working the hardest on, is what we're calling content mapping. And content mapping is thoroughly validated with prototypes, but what content mapping does is that it looks at the complete text, it looks at the schema of a structured content document, and then it creates the mapping. So it takes these flat files that you then can paste in from other text editors also, and maps it over to Sanity Studio as structured content. And this is and it works really, really well, even for documents that are very complex. But it's very hard to craft a user interface for it that is easy to sort of use. So that's what we are currently working very hard on. And the next, I would say, we are continuously shipping stuff here every single week. But that's the next major milestone that we'll probably let everyone know about in public when that's done.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for walking us through that Create demo. It's really cool to like see the AI in action and like how it can help you in your writing, and just like the distraction-free zone that Create has afforded all of us. But my final question is, how can people start using it today?
Yeah. So Create is, I mean, Sanity as a product, apart from sort of Create, is something where you need a developer to set up a Sanity studio, and it involves like having code. But Create is available for everyone. It's free for the duration of early access, and if you just go to sanity.io/create, you can start using the product immediately.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Evan, for meeting with me and for letting us all in on the Create magic. But yeah, thanks so much.
Of course, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Evan, for that awesome demo, the awesome walkthrough. And when you're ready to use Sanity Create, head on over to sanity.io/create. Next, there's this new Vision plugin feature that may have gone unnoticed by you, but it's one I think will come in handy, so I wanted to point it out. With the latest version of the Vision plugin, you can now export your GROQ query results as CSV. So I got the engineer behind this, Rusty, to answer some questions about the development about this new feature. And how this feature came to be was shocking, even to me. So let's go watch that. Hey, Rusty, thanks so much for joining. Could you introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, thanks for having me. I work as a growth engineer here at Santi.
Right on. And you just created a new feature for the Vision plugin. So could you explain a little bit about this new Vision plugin export feature?
Yeah, so working with growth and marketing and using studios for saving all kinds of data, we often stumble into the need of exporting data into JSON or CSVs for further analysis or reporting. So this feature aims to make this process much easier. Previously, it was done by copy pasting your data into a third-party service where a user would need to convert it into a different type of data and then save it to their computer. This was a bit cumbersome, so I want to simplify this process.
So how did this idea come to be? Was it a community ask? Was it like an internal idea that you had, or how was it?
Honestly, I would love to say that this was a no-brainer feature, but I actually learned on one of our community meetups that one of our customers had forked the Vision plugin, built something very similar to this, and were just running their own fork. And after that, I remember coming to the office the next morning and bugging the studio team with my PR a few moments later.
That's so cool. I actually didn't know that. That's awesome to learn. Could you talk a little bit about the code behind this?
For sure. It's pretty straightforward. Envision you're presented with two export options now. One for JSON, and since the content lake returns JSON by default, all we have to do is run the data through the JSON stringify method. The other option is CSV, where the JSON result is run through a already made dependency for converting JSON to CSV. From this result, we're able to generate a blob that saves the file to your device.
So how can people start using this new feature?
If you're on the latest version of Sanity Vision, all you have to do is run a query in Vision, and in the bottom right corner, click the format you want to export your data as. Simple as that.
I actually didn't know this came from a Sanity meetup, so this is really cool to see that and to be able to interview Rosti. So thank you, Rosti. So next, let's look at some new features that have been added to Sanity. First up, we have presence cursors. We have presence cursors in the portable text editor now. Sanity Studio has always supported real-time collaboration with teammates, but now you can see exactly where they're all working with a cursor for each member. Kind of feels like Google Docs when you're editing block content. Another significant update is that comments and tasks are now officially out of beta. So by default, these features are now enabled for all document types. So you can now easily manage tasks and add comments directly within your Sanity project without any additional configuration. These are available on the growth plan, but there's also a free 30-day trial plan that you can try on new projects if you wanted to try this out. Just be sure to remove the unstable from your config file. Next up, we have TypeGen improvements. So with our recent launch of Sanity TypeGen, we've pushed several improvements. It now supports count in GROQ projections, and the TypeGen code is formatted if a prettier configuration is present. Plus, we've implemented bug fixes and enhancements that make TypeGen more reliable for you. Find out more about Sanity TypeGen at this link. Next up, we have saved user settings. So there are some user settings, like the one we can see here and search history, that are now stored and read server-side by Sanity. That means that your settings can be carried with you across different devices, and that comes in handy. And one that I really want to point out is visual editing. Visual editing is the feature that allows you to jump from content on your front end straight to where it lives in your studio. It is, drum roll please, free for all now. So we've moved this amazing feature to the free tier, and now everyone can enjoy the magic of visual editing. Also, we've added support for Astro. So if you're using Astro in Sanity, make sure you try out visual editing. We've also done a lot of necessary work on simplifying APIs. We've updated many docs and fixed various bugs. We hope your developer content experience is a good one with Sanity. We've been working hard to get you all a single source of truth on where to learn Sanity. And in this past month, we have officially launched Sanity Learn. There's a large array of Sanity features, and we want to make sure you get a good, clear path on how to wrap your head around all of those. Sanity Learn was created by some of the smartest people I know, Simeon and Knut, my awesome teammates. Simeon and Knut will walk you through getting started with Sanity, understanding GROQ, which is our favorite query language, and hooking it up to a front end. Sanity Learn has a large list of different paths that you can take when learning Sanity concepts. Check out the homepage to find the course that you want to dive into. Oh, and also, agency partners can also be enrolled in the Sanity Developer Certification Program. This will open up for everyone later in the year. There's a lot of stuff happening in the Sanity sphere. A lot of updates, new features, bug fixes, new products. Whether you're already using Sanity or haven't made the switch yet, we hope that all your project's content needs are solved with Sanity. And to demo premium features, you can actually spin up a new free project with Sanity, and you'll get a 30-day trial on all these premium features. This includes features like comments, AI Assist, scheduled publishing, and more. Head to sanity.io/docs/getting started with Sanity to start your free project today. Oh, and bonus upgrades are included for just a limited time. All right, so that's the gist of what's new in May 2024 for Sanity. If you want to keep up to date on our updates, bug fixes, and new features, there are many places to stay in the know. There is the Sanity changelog and the Sanity blog. So to get all these features and bug fixes applied to your Sanity, run the command npm install sanity at latest to get the latest version. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you around.